Yeah.
Yes, mine, so thank you.
All right, time is now 6:35. Open this meeting as per usual with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave Hemingway, Chair of the Select Board.
Marlo Herrick, Norman D. Blake.
And so that brings us to our announcements. Do we have any?
Well, I'd like to just, I think you might have one after I'm going to ask you, as you know, our next meeting is scheduled for July 3rd, which I don't think would work very well. We could either do Wednesday the 5th or the following Monday the 10th. Whatever suits your,
Let's do the 10th. Yeah, good idea.
Sure.
Okay,
And
there
we
we
can
go.
offset the
First
other
one
one.
down.
okay, so my announcement is the next select board meeting will be July 10th.
Alright.
All right.
Do you wanna offset the other meeting in the month too? Cause we'll still have 2 weeks between the meeting and then that, so we're not doing it back to back.
Oh, so you wanna do it the, like,
No,
14th, 24th?
So the,
Oh, move the 17th to the 24th.
Yeah,
right,
that's good.
and then we would still have a week between the
Then,
next
right,
select
yeah.
board meeting and go
So
right back to the
next,
normal
yeah, it'll be the
schedule.
That
second
sounds
and
good.
fourth next time.
I will repost those.
Okay. Those. All right, did we have any other announcements?
That was the only one I had.
All right, any other announcements by the board?
Oh, I don't have anything.
All right, so that moves us on to our appointments. First of which is Sarah Kimball for planting trees.
I thought I was downstairs. I've been sitting down there.
Oh,
Praise Mary.
The trees grew, we're up here now. We're in the
Like that. If that wasn't perfect timing, I don't know what.
So
That
welcome,
was- that
come
was
on
great.
down.
Yeah.
Where do you want me? Right there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because you know I'm so shy. How's everybody?
And yourself?
Glad you could make it.
Yeah, I know. The meeting can commence.
Right.
So, do I state my name, all that for the record?
Be great.
Please.
Sarah Kimball. I live on White Plains Road in Webster. I had just the most brilliant idea. No, I would really like to plant a Christmas tree. Down in the park where the gate is, before you go down into the picnic area, I want to remove one of those old stumps that are disintegrating. Brenda makes them so pretty with planting flowers, but I was talking with her the other week and she said that she can't plant in there anymore after this year because they're just crumbling. And I would like to start doing an annual Christmas tree lighting.
Awesome.
Because it's just, there's not a lot of community things in town other than Old Home Day, and I just thought that this was a great way to start something. So I'd like to purchase and plant a Christmas tree.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
Very nice idea.
Yeah, thank you.
And, which, Dana's right there. Dana, I want to reserve the town hall for the first Saturday in December. That's when I would ideally like to do it, is, you know, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, or Sunday. I mean, either day is fine. And I'd like to sponsor doing like cookies and hot chocolate and coffee afterwards at the town hall, again, so people can kind of just mingle and maybe have either the church choir or the high school vocal ensemble come and people can just sing Christmas songs and just get
That's
to know
really
one
cool.
another. Get
I
to
love
know
it.
one another.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We used to do that at the meeting house. Do you remember that? You were too young, I think.
I'm not that young though. Yes, but it was it a planted tree?
No, we
Okay.
didn't plant the tree.
I didn't think so.
But can
yeah.
you plant, I mean, is it really smart to plant a tree in December?
No.
Oh,
So
you're
I
gonna-
already
It would be the
talked
lighting.
to. Yeah, I do
Oh,
the
the
lighting
lighting,
in December.
okay,
Yes.
okay,
I
I
talked
got
to Faulkner's greenhouse. They have a really great selection of trees right now, and they've actually set some aside for me. I'm like, well, when I get approval, I'll come down and buy one. They said to either do it before the super hot weather gets here,
Yeah.
or wait until end of September, beginning of October. So I'm thinking the fall. It would be better because we're supposed to get like 90-degree heat by the end of this week. And it's pretty basic care. I'll take care of it until it gets rooted and whatnot.
Well, I personally say thank you. That's pretty awesome.
I would
Well, and,
completely
you know,
That
agree.
is so cool.
And
Yeah.
being a business in town, I want to give back to the community in some way, and I thought maybe this would be a good way. And even if it doesn't last forever, I've planted a tree.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, it's a great
So,
idea.
Yeah.
so the silly question, I love the
Chair
idea
asked
too,
that.
do we have to, because this will be on, town property, do we have to do anything like a public hearing or so on, or can we just accept it as a gift and move on?
Yeah, you can, because the select board approved accepting gifts many years ago, so.
Yeah, and this
Awesome.
isn't a building, it's,
I know, it sounds
if I
ridiculous.
said,
but this is
oh,
what we have to
I'm gonna build a batting house at the, you know, Little League field, then that might be a little different.
Is this going to the school, should we let the school know?
No, it's our property, in
Yeah,
fact.
oh.
We can let the school know, I suppose. Or Sarah can,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not shy either,
What
so I don't
what
want
was
to
that
call.
question?
Just let the school
Um,
know.
Yeah.
Do we have power out there?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. That Brenda and I, we already talked about
stuff
this.
was over there, but I didn't know if it was
Yes,
over
there's
near
a
that
little,
section.
Power box where you can
Yeah,
plug things into.
that was gonna be my question, but you've talked to Brenda.
Yeah, and that's where I had my wedding reception 25 years ago, so I know that there's a
Yeah.
power outlet down there.
Congratulations
Well,
on the
yeah.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Cool. I love it.
Sweet, so we should probably make a motion to accept.
Sure, I'll make a motion, we accept Sarah's generous gift. Oh, yeah, and just awesomeness, and so I second.
Awesome, all in favor?
Aye. Okay, that was easy, we can all go.
Thank you very
I know,
much.
right?
It's a nice way to start the meeting. That was, very.
Thoughtful.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So Dana, I'll get a hold of you.
I wrote
Next
that
week you're
down,
done?
obviously I
Okay.
don't know right now, but it's
Yeah.
probably okay,
Okay.
but,
I'll get a
yeah.
hold of you in the next couple of weeks.
Give me a
and-
call, sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you get what you want, you leave.
Have a good night.
All right, that moves us on to our second appointment, which is Danielle and Business on Long Street.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Danielle Freelet, and I live at 1092 Long Street. And I bought my house in 2018. And when I bought it, it just had some nice old ladies over there. And 6 months later, it just changed. And now I feel that they're running a trucking company across the street, and I would like to sell some land. And I feel that with the trucking company and just the eyesore that's there that you see is going to devalue my sale, and it devalues my property. So I don't know if we can make them put up a fence or move their commercial property, like their company to a commercial property. I think a lot of people in town that live close by are just like, eh. So, I don't know what can be done, but
So I guess my first question is, do we know if there is a registered home business or other kind of business there?
So there is, I went and looked at the address on the Secretary of State's website to see if there was an address registered there. And they are saying that their primary office is on that address on Long Street for their office address. However, they also have a business side in Bow.
And have we had a, like, home office or similar
We
exception
have
case with
not,
our
I went and
ZBA
checked
or
into
other
that in
things?
between the meeting and there has not been one.
Okay. So at a minimum, assuming that everything is kosher otherwise, they would still need to go through the
ZBA
ZBA
process.
to be able to have commercial, because it's zoned residential agriculture.
yeah.
For, that sounds pretty cut and dry. Is there anything particular that we should send out the inspector for
Well,
to
we
get a
can't send out
report on?
inspector at the moment because he just had surgery, so he's gonna be, not able to do anything for the next 3 weeks.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Cause he just had knee surgery. So he's out of order for a little bit, but it's pretty clear, you can see it from the road.
I was gonna say, you can
drove
drive by.
It's horrible, and,
Yes.
you know, it's noisy, and they run their trucks at, 1, 3 in the morning. I mean, I can hear it in my house.
So, would the appropriate thing be a letter that states they either need to not operate or have, go to the ZBA to do it appropriately?
We could do that,
Or
that is
like-
an option.
What are the other options?
I think that's really the only option at the moment. And then you would have to send one of the standard letters if you wanted to, that says, you have 30 days to respond. We've heard this, it's registered on the Secretary of State.
Mhm.
And then I can get that letter for you for the next meeting, and then you can sign it, and then we'll send it out.
That
Does-
sounds like the obvious way to go.
Does a family live in that house too, do you know?
I don't even
Or is it
know, there's so
more
many.
than one? It seems like there's so many vehicles.
People and I can't even keep track. Their dogs have chased my kids, myself getting my mail, like, it's been a nightmare since they moved in. And I just, I'm potentially thinking about selling some land, and I know nobody's gonna wanna move in next to that, and
Mm.
so,
Are you across the street or next door?
right across the street.
Across the street.
And yeah, there's been other issues too, with the other neighbors, so. Not what I moved into, yeah.
Well, we're really a nice town.
Yeah, I mean, I love my land, it's beautiful, it's just, the neighbors, what's going on across the street, it's
I know, I
crazy.
keep wondering, it seems like there's more and more.
There's
more and more vehicles
explosions
in
by
there.
Dale next door, I mean, it's been, the two of them, it's been fun. So, I would like to clean it up though, and looking into selling some land, so,
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. We'll do something.
thank
Alright,
you.
so, sounds like the board consensus is that we get
A
an
letter.
appropriate letter for
And then I'll
that.
get that ready for the next meeting, and then we'll send it out.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you very
Alright.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. That moves us on to our next appointment, which is Roy and littering.
For your reading enjoyment.
Show and tell.
No, I'm not gonna dump it out. Good evening, I'm Roy Fanjoy, 36 Clothespin Bridge Road. Reason why I asked to be on the agenda tonight, down there is only 5 of the monitor advertisement bags. I picked those up last week. When the snow melted, Bruce and I walked from my house down to the Bosquen town line, and we picked up better than 20 of them, soaked and so forth. Now, these monitor advertisements, the Echo, whatever the name of the thing is, I can pull one out and give you the actual name. They're in a plastic bag. Someone comes by at night and throws them next to the mailbox. They don't put them on the mailbox, they don't put them in the mailbox or any cubby hole or hang them. They just throw it, and it stays there. Now, Saturday, there were none on Cornhill Road when I went down there. This morning I drove down and there's 6 new ones that's thrown next to the mailbox. Bruce had just told me that there's some on Deer Meadow Road. What's the other road? Tyler Road. I saw one coming on Clothespin Bridge Road up here, okay? That being said, I feel this is littering. Someone's taken it, thrown it next to the mailbox. The people that own the property or the mailbox, they're not bending down to pick it up, or I should say the majority are not picking it up. Dee has a paper. She asked people to put tubes up so she can put it in. I will admit, I've picked up a couple of the grapevines, but it's few and far between, but she doesn't throw it on the ground. She doesn't put it in a plastic bag for the weather. So it's like yours, if she left yours at the mailbox and you didn't like it, you threw it on the ground. I come walking by with a bag, I pick the damn thing up. So I had written the monitor back in April. And being conscientious to a certain point, there's a basic fine of $62 for littering. So the 20 of them, it was spelled out in the paper. They owed the town $1,240 for the littering, if we charged them for each one. They never printed my paper, you know, my letter to the editor. So the letter was toned down, it didn't mention the fine, or they just said there's a fine for littering and stuff like that, and they still didn't print it. But I did get a note from someone in the circulation department, and then I got a phone call. They're not gonna deliver it to my house anymore. Well, I don't get it anyhow. So, my problem is, we take pride in our town. Okay, we have people that go out all the time picking the trash up and stuff like this. This is just a pain in the butt. So there is a proposal letter in your packet, I believe. Dana made it up. And I'm asking you to sign it, to send it to the monitor, to tell them, please, stop. Don't throw it on the ground anymore. I'm tired of picking this stuff up, but like, one house had like 5 of them, so it's been there for quite a while.
I think people leave them on the ground thinking that if they don't pick them up, they won't get any more.
Oh, no, they don't.
I know,
They
that's,
get more.
right, that's the wrong attitude, I understand it.
Wrong attitude, I agree.
But they've paid for this.
No, they don't,
no,
they don't
these
pay
are
for
the-
this. If you have a subscription to the monitor,
Yeah.
my understand, you don't get these.
No, you don't, cause you get the monitor
So
in
can
your
I
box.
see what
So
you're,
why do people get these then?
They're
I've
trying to
never
sell-
I've never gotten one either.
Cause they're trying to sell the monitor, so it's like a promotional thing, so if you read this, maybe you'll buy the monitor.
This is one of the cleanest ones,
Yep, yep.
okay? And they're nice, they put it in a plastic bag. My regular paper does not come in a plastic bag.
No, it doesn't.
Mine does, my Concord monitor does.
Mine does not.
Yeah, interesting.
So, but
I've
that's
never
what,
seen this before personally.
that's what it is. Well, if you'd like to go for a
So
walk,
this is interesting. It's US postage paid,
if
pre-sorted standard, so that would be,
That could be mail,
that
should
could
be
be, that
mail.
should be the mail person, not the monitor delivery
Right.
person.
well, then if it's the mail person, why aren't they putting it in the box?
They
That would
would.
be the question.
Yeah.
Because they should.
But this stuff is being thrown on the ground.
The monitor's paying somebody to put those out, I'm sure.
Well, they must be.
So I'm asking the board, there's a letter in front of you, to please stop this.
And I have to say, I've been delivering Bosco newspapers.
Yeah.
And there's tons of them all over the place too, so
Yeah.
it's not just Webster.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't like seeing it on the side of the road, let's put it that way.
No. Nobody, I don't think any of us
No.
do.
Could we, I read it earlier, but I'm gonna
Okay.
see
Yeah.
it again. But I was
If you-
thinking,
if you
I was
want-
thinking what I didn't know if we could maybe adjust it a little bit to say, because you just made a good point. If they're paying for some kind of postage, that could they please put them in people's mailboxes and not throw them on the
But
ground?
I
Because
don't
it
think
says,
they're
because
paying the
it's
postage.
addressed to postal customer and then a number, which is a route number. And
Oh,
that
that
would
right
make,
here.
that would make sense as to why I wouldn't see it, because I wouldn't be the same route I wouldn't be the same full route as, say, Deer Meadow.
But it's still interesting, I'm not, I mean,
But I've never seen
who
one
decides where,
in-
and how do
at
they
my
decide
place.
where it goes?
Yeah,
Somebody does that.
maybe it's addresses that
Somebody
have
gets paid to
at
do
one point
that.
Yeah.
in time had the monitor.
Maybe.
What was that?
I've had the
Dave?
monitor
That
before
maybe it
at
was
home, and
places
I get it
that
at work
one
now,
point in
but.
time have had it, but I don't know.
I think they just try to get new customers, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, it's gotta be something like that, but,
I'd just like the board to try and do something about this.
I think trying to do something is definitely the appropriate action. I don't know if the letters here are fairly accusatory in tone, which if we wanted to take legal action may be the appropriate thing, but I think we just want it to stop.
Yeah,
And so we might want to try a slightly different tact on the way that we send the first letter of like, please explain what's going on and why it's this way, make it stop, sort of thing. And then if it doesn't, then we use something more along the lines of what's here, including citing RSAs and fine amounts. So.
Would you like me to put a letter together for your review?
Yeah, well, I mean, but I'm with him on the fact that let's just say, hey, you know.
what's cooking?
Let's cook
Yeah.
and good looking, right? So, you know, and what can we do to make it that we don't have to have people picking them up off the
Right.
road? You know,
And it's not just me
We wanna
that's
keep our
pick-
town pretty
Yeah.
clean and we
Yeah.
just would like you to respect that, and
Yeah,
not just
Yeah,
toss
it's,
the paper.
it's not just me that's picking them up.
No, no,
You know, a lot of people, there's a couple that live down on Clothespin Bridge Road, and they pick them up all along that area.
Yep. They pick lots of stuff up.
So-
And most of the
oh, yeah,
people
you-
who pick
you've
this
seen
stuff up
them
picks
out,
up
yeah.
lots of things. A generic question, in many places, if you're going to have a newspaper delivered, you're not allowed to have it delivered until there's a box for it. Is there anything like that either here or in neighboring towns?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Okay.
I have
believe
never
so,
heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
but they must have came up with that because they didn't want them just laying around in the. But this is not somebody that has decided. See, I would have a more issue if they've got the subscription of, and then we're telling them they can't have a paper next to their,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, but this
Yeah.
is them just deciding who they
Yeah.
throw it on, in which they don't
Right.
even fairly throw it on everybody's lawn.
No.
So-
And
so-
it's out
By
on the side of the
mailbox,
road.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And like I
I'm
said,
just-
after the snow melted, I might find 4 at your place, you know, 2 down at Dee's, because she might have picked up one of them and thrown them in the trash.
Right.
Well, I don't get them because I get the monitor.
Yeah,
So
I
they-
don't get
they
it
leave me
either,
alone. Right.
but,
It's just still weird because I get the monitor and I don't get this, or then
Yeah.
I didn't
No, because
get the
they're
monitor.
only looking for new constables.
Right, but that
to be
used
over-
to.
Well, then I would have
Yes,
thought
sir.
that I would get one.
That's
I'm
right.
surprised, yeah.
It
I'm
is just,
surprised.
it's very strange, actually.
Yeah.
well, they don't wanna irritate you because you're the chairman of the board.
Drive by that
You know,
mailbox.
once you tweak your back bending over to pick it up, then there's trouble.
Really?
So, any other questions for me on this?
No. We got your point.
Does the board want to go forward with either the signing or to have Dana draft something different?
I'd like him to draft something, just kind of reaching out to the monitor and, you know, being friendly to start out, to say, hey, you know, what is the scoop on this and why are these just thrown on
Friendly
the.
with teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, friendly with teeth and ask them,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because.
And they
you've-
may- and we-
You've received an inquiry, is this classified as littering?
Well, and I think also, like you're just pointing out, we're proud of our town and we're proud of, and we don't, these, it's not like, again, I just said it, I don't need to repeat, I'm sorry if I repeat myself, just, it's not like I've said, oh, I want this, and don't tell me they can't throw it in front of my mailbox, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not me saying, please deliver this, this
Yeah.
is them doing what they want.
I think this is a different person than like the person that delivers our papers. It's not anything to do with them.
Yeah,
Somebody's, because I remember, I had.
And most likely, it's probably not what they're supposed to exactly do,
yeah.
we know how that
Probably.
goes.
It's interesting that seems to be the only neighborhood that they do this.
No, they do it in Boston too, like I said.
No, I meant here, yeah.
I think they would, it depend, well, I guess
mean-
it depends on, well.
I mean, I walk a lot here and I've not ever
Right,
noticed.
right.
Well, they probably wanna keep it off 127.
No, but I walk up.
I don't-
White-
Yeah, it is
Well,
weird,
that could
I've
be
always
too.
I don't
said.
know.
Yeah, White Plains is also state, just like 127
Yeah,
is.
but Dana walks everywhere.
But the other point would be that, you know, as Dee said, with Bosco and both of those are gonna be coming out of the Bosco and Concord
Yeah,
area.
I just thought it was kind of peculiar, that's all.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
thank you.
can I make one other note?
Nope. It wasn't on the thing, no, just
I know.
kidding.
Okay. Report health inspector, nothing major has been happening in town on the health department side. I've done several inspections for foster parent and so forth, stuff like that, that's about it. So things have been quiet.
Good.
And I did approve to come out of the health budget, the testing for the Blackwater River for E. coli, because it's, kids go swimming down there, people go swimming, so it's better to know what's in the water. It used to be done by a separate group, and they reached out to me and asked if we would sponsor at least one of the testings. So I believe they came in and,
I have not seen it yet.
okay.
I mean, I have your notes, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting to see
Okay,
it,
but they're gonna be testing above the dam for E. coli here because of the swimming, and then down below Clothespin Bridge.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because we had that big problem last year, so we don't need that.
That
Well,
was,
that was a bloom, that wasn't the.
That-
E.
that-
coli.
No,
that-
no, right, but it was a
Correct.
health problem.
it was a health problem, that could be caused by E. coli, and it can be caused by organophosphates, fertilizers,
Yeah,
and so forth. And when I did the testing, I found it all the way even up into Salisbury,
Wow.
the floodplain where the road goes
Yep,
across. And I forgot that the Salisbury dump is very close to the Blackwater up there. So I should not be saying this because it's on record. I don't know if things have leached in and then it just picked up as it came down through our part of the territory.
well, I noticed, I know, because our dump is near water too, and that always makes me nervous. You know, there's that standing water.
Yeah,
So I don't know why.
but this is the river, and, you know, once we got the heavy rains, everything moved and everything cleared up really well. So,
Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Roy.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Did you want me to leave that for your reading enjoyment?
I'm sure we can recycle
We
it.
can get rid of them,
We
yes,
can
we'll
take care of
recycle
it.
them.
You don't
Did you want me to take that back?
Well,
Or did you wanna keep it?
No, I.
There
no,
might be
you-
bugs.
I know.
Bugs are, that's a part. I had another
Protein.
thing I wanted to bring up around
They could
these whole
send a picture
littering
of
and
that with their
code
letter.
enforcement.
They could take a
thing.
picture of the front
Okay.
page.
I've
Oh, they-
received complaints
Believe
about
me,
the
they will
signs
know.
you might have noticed on the side
I
of the
can give them a
road.
fresh one.
About what?
The
I'm sorry.
signs on the side of the road, you know, you've seen this roofing company, that
Oh,
roofing
yeah,
company.
right, we
you
have
know.
them, I have them at the end of Winnapocket Road too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I've received a couple complaints about them, and I wanted to know if the board wanted me to look in to see if we can get them removed. Cause I think some of them are obviously in the town's right of way, and I don't know if the property owners had put them out, or if they're just random companies
no,
going
I mean,
by
at the end
and
of Winnapocket Road that's definitely somebody just driving around.
dropping them.
Yeah, they're right across from each other, it is a
Um,
tad bit obnoxious, but.
But they're gonna get taken out in the roadside mowing anyway later in the year, cause Emmett's gonna have to take them down to mow. But
I guess the question would be, so, I'll use me for an example. I don't have anything there, but if I had somebody do a driveway or something, and they said, hey, can I put a sign up at the end to say, you know, my such and such driveway company, because I did this, and, like, sure, yeah, they can see anyone who drives by can see what your work is, I'll leave it there for like a month or whatever. And I know that, at least being considered at one point was part of a sign, I don't wanna say ordinance, but basically a sign ordinance with, planning, where it was looking at the different types of signs, not just for like what might be a commercial building for an exception, but whether it was, for example, and I think it was mostly around political signage, but for once an election was done, that the political signage for that election couldn't stay up for longer period than
time.
like a week or two afterwards, and it was all going to be considered a temporary sign, and temporary signs had a maximum uptime in a given location, which would then also include things like the advertising for roofing companies
Well, I
and
mean,
stuff.
it's a little different, because with the political signs, you would assume that the person got permission to put the political sign on the property.
Well, right,
Well,
so,
right, but
so
this
in
one,
all
they
of
could have
these-
gotten permission
Right.
from where they got it.
So in
but-
all of these cases, I'm making the assumption, or I'm making the point for these, that it would be a particular person that says, you can put this on my property because, and then there should be, there may or may not be a time limit on it, and there probably should be if there isn't. If it's just someone driving around and throwing them in random places, you know, if you do that with political signs, there's legal ramifications. And if you do that with other things, it's probably littering. So that would be good to know which of these types of things we're dealing with, whether it's someone's just randomly sticking them in the ground and hoping no one does anything to them, or whether they've actually gotten permission from landowners.
But is there a law, like a state law or something, that, we don't have a law for that, do we, the town, but is there
No,
a state?
but there is a law that says you can't put things that interfere with the right of way. So if
Okay,
it's-
on the
it's
right of
on the
way,
side
right.
of the road.
And
So if
then it's
it's
up
a
to the
little further
landowner.
back,
If the landowner doesn't like it, then they can just take the sign down, if, you know, if
Right.
it, somebody just sits it, like on my corner or something like that, and I can
right,
just
but a
take
lot
it.
of these are on like people that have bigger parcels and they're on.
Yeah, and they
the
don't
road,
see 'em.
And they don't see them.
Mm.
So it's just a question for the board. We received complaints and I didn't know if we wanted to look into seeing if we could do something.
If we're getting complaints, then I think the question would be, which type of signage are we getting? Is it?
The roofing signs. That's-
Well, right, but is it, are people giving permission, or is it just, as we think, being stuck there?
Yeah.
And asking a few people whether they gave permission for the sign is probably reasonable to start that. And then we can go from there. And my recommendation would be to take to the planning board that, hey, let's look at what should or should not happen here. Because I know it's been brought up before, but I don't think,
I think you're just trying to
I
make
think
sure
it was
that,
too divisive, and so they didn't want to do it back then.
and you're, not to put words in your mouth, you're just trying to make sure that if we start off on this premise, that we're fair to whatever happens, and, you know,
Right.
yes, I can vouch for that. There's 2 roofing signs at the end of Winnapocket Road, and I know darn well it's on either the town or the state, as a matter of fact, land. So, but with that being said, just like you're saying, we don't wanna, you know, there's many people that put signs out that they're working here or wherever, and that, you know, advertising in a sense, but, so, yeah, I agree with you. Start out to make, you know, find out from the people if they gave permission, and then, you know, it'll probably move
And if
into
they
something,
didn't
which
leave-
wouldn't be it's not a horrible thing to have something, and, I mean, I remember there was one time somebody went around they were hanging them off trees and telephone poles, I'll buy your house, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Those signs
right.
were everywhere in this town, so.
Yes.
It's the same kinda idea, and then we're talking about littering, I mean, to me, it's a little,
That's what
they're
I'm
not gonna
saying.
come back and pick their sign up.
But they
I
did
don't
leave a
think.
calling card to say who did it.
That's right, I know, right, it says, yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
So let's make sure that it is not something that, yes, that they got permission from, and maybe it's a little off or something like that from the corner of the yard that someone gave them permission. But then, I think, obviously the best way is to have some sort of ordinance, but that takes time, so that doesn't address the now.
I know the state-
The real question would be because, just because it's in the right of way doesn't mean that it interferes with the right of way and the usage of the right of way. So I don't really wanna go down that path unless they're like blocking vision of a corner or something like that.
Well, like I said, they're gonna
But-
get removed when Emmett mows the lawn
Right.
anyway. So they're gonna go.
And we're
But we shouldn't have to pay Emmett to do that.
Right.
And so,
But that's where you get into, this is why people shouldn't be putting things in the right of way.
So we should probably do something about right-of-way awareness for that sort of thing.
But then again, these
Even
people are
before the
likely not
mowing.
residents either if they're advertising. their
Right,
business.
but even before the mowing, because people do put up random signs, whether it's a vote for somebody or a something
Right.
else. And so it's probably important to do the education as well. And I think you're in probably the best position to do that.
Except they don't have a newspaper coming out in July, I'm taking a whole month off, from
Congratulations.
all of them, from, yeah. But that's, yeah, you're right, that should be a front page story. Of course, it's not gonna help people that don't live in Webster,
Right,
but.
No,
But people in Webster would know that they can call somebody, call.
Or that they can remove it.
Yeah,
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 You know, they don't have to leave that sign.
yeah,
there.
right.
and I think we did do something like that last year for the roadside mowing, we made
Yeah.
announcements and
Yes,
put it
we
on the
did.
website.
so I think that's gonna make sense, and depending on where we get with the inquiry, maybe it's, if this is on your property and you didn't request it, bring it to town hall and we'll count it as one piece of littering. So that might be an option in the future.
We just
Who-
think-
We don't wanna
depends
make
on
it too
how- It
complicated.
depends on how
Oh,
combative we
God.
wanna get.
Yeah.
And how, whether it's like 2 signs or whether it's a flood of them and we wanna start dealing with fines and legal stuff.
The
So-
DOT in Hennecker, whatever, they cover the area. They, at one point, and I haven't seen it like I used to, but you drive in, especially around political time, and oh my God. And I don't know that we wanna be that obnoxious to, so you put a political sign out and they'd come and take it. And they'd have that, you know, so I just think, is there a certain amount, is there in the zoning a certain amount of time that you can have a sign out? No.
We don't cover signs in our zoning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
be
that was a
something.
section that when the zoning ordinance was getting looked at and readjusted, it was looking at updating things like the driveway, the lighting for dark skies, and a whole bunch of other things, right before I was getting on the board, on the planning board. And so this was, what, like 5-ish years ago, maybe 6. But I think what came out of that was just an update to the language of the existing zoning laws and a reorganization instead of adding and changing things. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how that ended up happening. So that's basically where we are. How does the board wanna look at this? I've given a couple ideas.
Yeah, I don't think we should just jump in, and I think we should see how things run. Really gonna put some stories in the paper too, and I don't think signs are as much now as they used to be. They used to be really badly everywhere, so.
At the same time, we are now approaching big political season coming up soon.
Yeah,
So having people know what to expect ahead of time
yeah, that's
is
a good
gonna be
idea.
key to not getting super combative
Yeah.
with people,
Yeah, inundated too.
so how does the board wanna actually approach doing the process?
Well, I think we talked about just letting them know, like you said.
Okay, so start with the
Start
education.
with
Yeah,
that, right.
educate. Let's start with
Right,
education.
Okay.
Right.
It might not go very far, but I mean, if we're gonna kind of pick on the Concord Monitor people,
Mhm,
or not pick on them, or ask them not to litter.
mhm. Yeah, and we need to do it to
Yeah,
others.
That's would
Everybody,
be
right.
my
So
thought.
if we inform and educate people and tell them, hey, contact us if you've got this and you know, and you've taken one out.
Yeah,
Then we should in theory know if they haven't been giving permission. And then we can go from there, just like with the monitor.
yeah.
Okay.
But I think we're gonna write a letter to, are we writing a letter to the monitor and Are we- is
Yeah,
that
he's
what
gonna
we
draft
said?
one
Yeah,
for
I
us
was
for
gonna
next
say,
time.
okay, thanks.
So, all right. Any other comments or thoughts on this topic?
Nope.
All right, so that moves us to abatements in old business.
This was the abatement that I spoke with you last meeting about, and you asked me to get some more information regarding the assessor's methodology in recommending that this property owner have an abatement. They did send me an email, which I had included in the packet, and basically what I'm thinking it says is that this particular property was not being assessed in the same manner as neighboring properties, is how I do it.
Okay. I see. The map helps.
Yeah, you didn't have that last time, so that does help.
And the description here is much more what I would have expected from
Right.
an assessor in the last one, so to me, this now makes sense.
Chair, your sons.
Oh, so, do you have the, yeah, so,
Yes,
so
okay.
this is the description
Yes.
of why.
Yes.
And so the short version is that it was already listed as poor quality, but they hadn't had any financial adjustment for it being poor
Gotcha.
quality.
Okay.
So this fixes that. Because it wasn't normal waterfront, it was a marsh.
Mm-hmm.
So if the board were so inclined to agree with that, I have some signatures that I would like.
Since
And
I
I
think
think
I was the
Marlo, you're all
primary
set.
one asking to,
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I think I was the primary one asking to find out more last time, so.
Oh, and I said,
Right.
okay, coming back. There's only so much room up here.
And that will involve a refund on 22 taxes.
How much are we talking? Not too much, I hope.
Oh, I think we can keep it somewhere under $1 million, Pete.
Okay, thank you.
So that's
Probably talking $500.
Yeah.
about 5 per. Probably less than that.
Yeah, actually, it's what,
Nope,
probably a little over 100 now that I'm doing my math.
that's good, I like your math. Good.
Keep your math, David.
Napkin math says somewhere around 350 to 375.
Okay.
We do have to pay interest on that.
So probably about 400 when we're done with it.
Yeah, worst case.
All right. Is that the only abatement?
That's the only abatement.
We do have another tax thing, but we can do that later.
For the
Okay.
signing, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
that'll come
land use
later.
change
Yeah.
taxes.
Okay. So that moves us on to the water rights.
I received an email from our representative, which I provided a copy with. And you had asked last time if you could have a chance to see the wording of the proposed bill. And I think that Representative Elward explained why she didn't have that yet. That it wouldn't be available till the first week of September. And also, I think she would like the board to write a letter of support, as well as if any board member can testify at the legislature.
Okay. So I see what they are now requesting. I think as far as their request for, let's see, the legal and or other reasoning to support the purpose of that amendment. I think we should be able to put together some form of letter and let legal go look at it and then provide that as a document to them to use for reasoning. Let's see, additional research, etc. So the amendment would be introduced as a constituent town's request with the explanation provided by what we're saying. They are saying that it would be helpful for the town attorney or other experts to testify to answer committee members' legal, general, or technical questions. I don't know that we want to be sending the attorney down there to wait and see when they actually get to doing questioning or things on the town's dime.
I think it would be expensive.
That would probably
Yeah.
be fairly expensive.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, but I would think that a letter that would be signed by us and or legal would probably be sufficient to give them what they're looking for. Does that sound?
That sounds reasonable,
Well, that's
yeah.
all we're really willing to give.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense.
So I'll draft a letter and I'll send it over to legal, and he will probably rewrite it so it makes sense. And then I'll have it for you next meeting.
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
because
good.
I can't see sending an attorney down.
Please don't.
but yes, I would,
I mean, obviously that will cost a few dollars as well.
yeah.
Yeah, but he's cheap. Well, cheaper than most attorneys.
Well,
For-
it gives us a good rate for it.
He does give us a good rate.
That is something that is a reasonable request of use of time, I think, as opposed to, let's have him go sit there for hours and on end.
Yeah, right, right.
All right, any other thoughts on?
No, that one
No,
was
that
easy.
sounds good.
Okay, so that moves us on to new business, which is assessing RFPs.
This is the last year of our assessing contract. And Russ and I have this,
Actually, sorry, 1 second. Since it appears that everybody was here for that topic, was there any public comment on that topic before we?
On the water one,
Yes.
that sounds like you guys are on the right track. I mean, it's basically something we suggested years ago,
Okay.
but you guys have gone a little further, so thank you.
And I agree, don't send the attorney there to sit all day.
Right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay, sorry, go
so
ahead.
that's okay. This was, since our contract is expiring at the end of this year, and this is gonna be, we're gonna be very busy in the next few months as a side note with the reval as well. But this is, basically what the proposal for, the RFP for assessing services looked like last time. Russ has updated it somewhat, and I guess it's the first run-through of what it has in it and getting the board's thoughts. What else should we add to it, if anything? It's more or less boilerplate.
Do we have, I'm just in the process of scanning through it now, sorry. Do we have in there, coverage of utilities? Or are we expecting this to not include that and to continue on as we're
Well,
doing
that's
with
an
separate assessors?
That's an excellent question. I don't think this has the
No.
utilities in that.
And that is a good question of Dave, because that's one of the things I was wondering as well,
Right.
because we
Russ
have a
had-
good
Russ had
utility
mentioned that.
appraiser.
Do you want to include the utilities? My own opinion is that while our utility assessment cost is, I don't know whether it's substantial, but it's certainly significant. We do, in my opinion, have one of the best utility assessors in the state, and who is very knowledgeable about, this is his business, this is what he does. He understands all the things about the number of customers and all the gigawatts and the,
And he's one of the few that
you
will
know.
put up a good legal fight in court for you,
Oh, really?
defending what he has
Well,
said.
that's good.
Well, he's one of those where you get what you pay for. You
Yeah.
pay for top notch, you get top.
He's worked for me before and he's won court cases. And, you know, the utility companies, and I guess it's normal, they usually put an abatement request in every year, in the hopes that you might cave. And if it's not right, it's not right, but yet on the other hand, if it is, in my opinion, you shouldn't cave. But-
And I didn't wanna not include it, cause you might get somebody who's also really good who includes it as part of their package.
The former assessor, Cross Country, they were qualified to do utility appraisals. Not all of companies are. And that was one of the first things when I came here, that I got a call from the assessor saying, we can't do utilities. That's when I came to you with
Right.
the proposal from Mr. Sansucci. So now that I've said a lot of words, did you want me to include that?
I think when we do the RFP, we should mention utilities as a, if you are, if you have a qualified utility appraiser and assessor, please include a bid with and without that option, sort
That's
of
a
thing.
good idea.
Instead of a, this has to be there.
Okay.
I believe we have our contract for, is like 2.5 more years now?
For
Skip.
Mr. Sansucci?
Yes.
I thought it was a 3-year contract, and
It
we're,
was 5 to start with.
oh, well, then you're right, it's 2.5 then.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
And this one, I think, would also be a 5-year contract, the new one for the assessors. 'cause
Most
we're
likely.
so this would
Yeah.
have an overlap, is what you're saying?
Yeah, cause our reval, normally with the assessor, we run reval to reval, and this one's, the last one was different. And now we're kind of not in the same bracket where a utility,
Well, they
Right.
started in 2018, and it wasn't until 2020 that they told you that they couldn't do utilities.
oh, did they start in 2018?
Well, yeah,
I thought Teresa said she worked with them before she left in 2019.
so
yeah.
Or like worked with.
CNP, yes, she did.
the kind of interesting aspect there is that I think what we will probably want to try to do is to see what a what a contract extension with Mr. Sansucci would look like to line up with the new assessing firm. And the
So
reason is.
apples to apples.
Yeah, so that
That's what you're trying to do.
they'll line up in the future.
Yeah, right.
And then you know if there is a difference, a
And-
big difference in price, you will see it.
Well, and more importantly, that in theory, if the big transmission line upgrade happens, that should be well underway / partially, mostly completed at that point. And having someone that's already familiar with and has done everything on the line already in Mr. Sansucci would be advantageous going into and through that process. But,
It would also be good with the solar too, cause he's done all that before.
yep. Well, I'm, maybe it's naive, but I'm going to assume that just about anyone who says they can do utility appraising and assessing will be able to handle a solar field.
I think it would.
Okay,
But we'll see.
Did you assume?
I never assume
Yes.
stuff like
I
that.
can't see it on recording, but I know what my mother told me that means.
And generally, I agree, but that seems like it should be one of the basic things that everybody has to do now.
Yeah, it's so prevalent.
So, yes. Were there other comments or questions on the RFP?
Nope.
so I'll bring that back to you next time. with, a section regarding the utility appraiser, and in the meantime, I'll also talk with San Souci regarding, a possible extension and what that might look like.
Sounds good. All right. So that ends our new business, which brings us to correspondence.
Well, the first correspondence item was not in your packet, but it's a correspondence from me. And it is, and I was specifically gonna ask Marlo, we have a tree that's on the building and back. And it's a tree that was suggested that we get rid of. And there was a quote on this a couple years ago now. And I think it was something like $1,500 to remove 2 trees there.
We're
Shall I
talking about over in the park?
No, we're over here, we're right in
Oh,
the back of
behind
the
the
building.
building. Okay.
If you looked at the building,
Oh,
you'll see that
on the
there's a-
back of our building.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Remember when the tree fell in town hall? We're trying to avoid that going forward.
So, and the reason this is kind of coming up, because I'd like to do some things with the town hall that haven't been done because we've been busy doing other things. And one of them was gutter cleaning, washing windows, and this tree that's leaning on the building. So, can you imagine maintenance?
Can't we get somebody to do that and to take the tree and the trees and all, and not have to pay them? No, you can't do that?
Not one tree at a
Usually you'd
time.
need to be like doing a logging type thing, not a
No.
single tree.
It's a huge liability, first of all, and all depending on what equipment he needs, if he's got his bucket truck or a crane, because you can't just remove the tree and cut it down and
Yeah.
not, it could cost a lot of money to
And
the,
it's close to the building.
Do we get quotes on doing that?
well, if you can find somebody that wants to do it, it's the big.
There's my next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well, I know I have
I know Dee's got a couple that advertise. with
advertised
her.
and they're really good.
Yeah, well, right, that would be one of the
Louise
ones
Tree
that,
and
yeah.
Eric Gay, yeah, and
Yeah.
they've been terrific. I've had them do some work for me
Yeah,
too,
so, and then, well, yeah, those two are fine. I mean, they'd probably be about the same, but yeah, if you got a couple quotes.
Yeah, I'll get quotes. Can we just
Okay.
send them a request to give them, can we just send them to them?
Well, yeah, or you
They
just
write in my
contact
paper,
them.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
All
just-
right. Because the man that I've been talking to about possibly doing the window washing, gave me a price of $50 to trim the tree back, but it really doesn't solve our problem.
Yeah, if
It
you gotta
does
have to,
it does for 10
you
minutes.
gotta take it out if it's that
Yeah.
close to the building. I mean, it's gotta come out someday.
Is it a maple?
How,
It is maple. Or, no,
Do you know your trees?
not really.
how, I'm recalling that there's been, in the past, issues with trees around town hall, and that they're not actually on property that the town
Correct.
owns.
Well, we talked to.
How is this?
We've already worked through that.
Okay,
Yeah, Mr. Creighton owns the
Creighton,
property that's
and
right
then
in
I
back
think
of
we
us,
already
and he
talked to
came
that
over
property
with-
owner too.
And talked with me one day,
Let's see.
and,
He owns a property right behind the town.
right behind the town hall.
And the Doucettes are right in between.
Yeah, he owns right in back of them too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
so our normal town hall repair and maintenance budget still has almost 50% sitting in it at this point, and that's not the, or as of earlier this, the date's wrong on the top of the report, but as of earlier this month, so.
Well, the date on the top report should be when she ran it last, and
So there's one where it says it was run, but it's, the 4 is weird. So in theory, there's funds sitting there. We should also have the trust fund, or if we need to go over that. So
The
that sounds
other
like a good
issue-
idea to me.
Yeah, the other issue I'd like to talk about is, if you look at the front of the building, and I am waiting for someone to come look at the building to see why the paint is peeling. If
I was
it's
gonna bring that up,
If there's
yep.
an obvious reason for that. but the front of the building needs to be washed. And so the power washing estimate is $350 to power wash the front of the building.
That's it?
That's not bad.
That's cheap for the whole front of the building.
When did you get that?
This morning.
Oh, well, okay. Who wants to make a motion to set that?
Make a motion, we'll have no paint left.
Yeah, well, when they pressure wash it, it'll definitely take off some of the peeling paint.
Yeah, well,
Uh-huh.
And this, I mean, this whole proposal's a little less than 1,000, so I didn't go out for.
So my
but-
question with the power washing is going to be along that lines. When it strips off a lot of the paint,
Well, I know what you're saying, yeah.
we need to paint. So can we have that lined up before we do this?
Okay.
Cause I don't wanna just like strip it and then have the hall get destroyed further.
Okay,
Well,
because
and
I
plus
should
it-
then wait until
Till
the
we figure
person
out
that
what's
looks
going on.
and sees
Mhm.
if there's an obvious reason why.
Did you go out for a quote for that power wash, or somebody just said?
No, I just included it with this.
Oh,
And-
okay.
But, I mean, I could.
But I mean, have somebody or you don't have somebody?
No, this is someone that if we chose to do it, he would do
Oh,
it.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, cause I also have somebody that does that in my newspaper,
Oh,
so
really?
I'm just,
Oh,
yes,
Well,
yes.
that would be good to know, maybe.
Well, we
can-
can certainly request
Yeah.
a second quote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
This
exactly.
fellow has worked for us before, he's done the gutters before,
Yeah.
which is
And
why,
he's-
Oh, yes, the
He
gutters
does a
were,
really
the
good
gutters
job.
were good.
yeah.
And
Although he did tell me this
Well
time,
priced.
this gutter over here is too high for him. And last time when he was out there, I couldn't watch because
no, we thought
it
it
was
was-
scary.
yeah.
Oh, God.
so how do we handle that then?
Well, I guess we need to go to a tall gutter cleaner.
When they come out with the bucket truck to do the tree control.
Yeah, there you
Get in the
go.
bucket truck and,
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
tell
the
them.
hose.
if they need it, I haven't seen the tree.
oh, just
I mean,
take
that's
me up with a
always
hose, I'll
neat.
do it in the
Yeah.
bucket truck, I'll help you.
Well, the tree is right here.
Okay.
I should show it to you before you
We
leave.
should train the squirrels to clean the gutters, it'll be perfect. It'll be-
Okay, well, I just wanted some input on that. Shall I
But
go-
definitely, once they do if they, because pressure wash, then if you can line the paint guys up, it'll leave a lot less scraping, I would think.
Yeah,
Just cause
right.
that stuff looks
It's a
like
very
it's gonna
good
peel
point.
off, yeah.
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, then here's where I get into trouble of not wanting to have to do the maintenance forever and doing this all the time every several years.
Oh, why not? You want vinyl's final.
Considering something different than wood clapboards and painting, whether it's vinyl, whether it's aluminum, whether it's a wood look-alike, that is
Concrete
the
pulp, compost.
synthetic or concrete, cause then it looks like and acts like and gets painted like, clapboard, but doesn't get stripped off all the time, and can't rot. So,
Everlast is a really good product because it has the same color all the way through. So
Mhm.
unlike a product like Harvey, which is twice as heavy and twice as thick, it also chips and needs to be touched up. But something like Everlast is a composite siding that. But one of the things I would look at is when you're thinking about why the paint is chipping, a lot of this is due to either moisture or bugs,
mhm.
one of the two. So that would be explored. And taking the trees down would help a lot with the moisture because you're gonna get more sun.
Mhm.
Could I ask the board a question before I go?
Yes,
I was wondering if there's a noise ordinance.
sorry?
Is there a noise ordinance after 10 PM at night, do you know?
I don't believe we have a specific noise
No.
ordinance. There is a, like, noise/nuisance ordinance from the state. But that's and it's worded really weirdly.
What else is new from the state?
I just wanted to put a bug in your ear to think about that for the lady that spoke earlier.
Mhm. And again, that would be something that the planning board should
And if they
probably
do go to the ZBA
put
to
on their
get
list.
approval, they would have to do hours of operation, fencing.
Well, right, but I'm talking about like the suggestion of an actual noise ordinance, cause that's come up several times
Noise
in the past
ordinances,
couple
from
of
my
years.
research, are
It's
Well,
difficult.
very hard to, do.
Hard to enforce, hard to find, hard to pass. However, it has come up several times from several different locations in town over the past few years, including Pillsbury Lake, over by Long Street, and down the other end of town as well, with some of the construction that was going on. So my only request is that it be put forward to the planning board that several people have talked about this. Does the planning board want to do something? And it's on the planning board to do or not do whatever they want to with it, but we should bring it to their attention and let them decide.
You're taking the dollar bill and passing it, aren't you?
I'm not on that board anymore, so I can't do it. I have other things that I'd like to work on with the planning board, but I don't have time to do it yet, so that will have to wait.
Have a good night, guys.
You too,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
So the next item in correspondence, you saw the email from Caitlin Monroe, answering questions that had been asked at the meeting.
Oh, yes.
So she did get back to you, with her answers. And having done that, she has a suggestion of a letter that she'd like you to write to support their application for a grant.
Well, I do like the idea that they wanna go and use lines and stuff that are already there, and, I'm kind of in support of that, because I don't wanna see them cutting more trees, and, it's there, and the town will make some money.
So, well,
Kinda. And I feel like it's a
so
little
their
bit of
two
a
hundred
smoke
fifty
show.
thousand that they said is their estimate that we would probably get over 40 years, including depreciation. So,
Per year, though.
no.
Oh, that's,
Total.
total.
So, we're not talking much of a change in money because of the way that they'll feed things through depreciation schedules. I support all of the concepts of it and what they want to do. And I think it's a good idea in general. I personally hesitate to send this letter because they, as far as I'm aware, have still not worked out the details with how that affects the interconnection of the solar project that is Deer Meadow Solar.
Oh,
And so I feel that we could possibly end up in a conflicting situation by saying, we want this to the detriment of the project we've already been working on. If, I would fully support doing something like this if I knew that those interconnection agreements and stuff were already taken care of. But I know at least as of last time, they hadn't been yet, and they were kind of surprised that we were gonna connect to those because of the capacity of it. So I don't know exactly where that leaves us, but I wanted to put those comments out. Because I definitely support the project as a concept, and I think it's the right way to do the project. But I can't say that I do or do not support the actual implementation that they're talking about until for the town as on behalf of the citizens of the town of Webster, until I know whether that's gonna completely mess up or not the project that the citizens of the towns of Webster have been active in providing feedback for will seriously financially gain from per year. Is the amount that they're saying we'll get over 40 years will get during the first year of construction for the solar project. as a
Oh.
town. So, and then some. So it's,
I personally don't think it's a good idea at this point myself, to write any kind of supporting letter. They came and gave a lot of information, and what is actual, true factual is probably, still needs a little research, and then like you pointed out, the fact that, you know, what will happen with everything that the solar fields have been working on, so I second that. I don't feel the need to.
How is that coming along though? We haven't heard much from that whole thing, the solar thing, have we?
the short version of it is that, they're waiting and ready to go with a lot more stuff.
Oh, so they're just
But the
waiting for
intercon-
legal
But
stuff?
they've been working on and waiting for a consensus of what happens with the interconnection agreement, which is all dealing with the same lines that are changing with this project. It's all queued up in similar things that,
Oh,
whether it's ISO or whoever it is that's actually looking at it. So that's
So it's
where.
a wait and see, basically, it's
Yeah,
good, yeah.
it's a little bit interesting because under, how to say this in a correct manner that I don't think I'll get in trouble for.
You don't want my words.
If the transmission project were already completed, it would be far more expensive for the equipment that would interconnect to the higher voltage lines.
Oh,
So the solar project would be far more expensive for them to do and less likely to happen in specific manners or to get financed in manners or to give us more. If the solar project were already completed, it would cost more for this transmission upgrade because since the line was already in use, they would be on the hook to upgrade the equipment that was already interconnecting with it.
oh, jeez.
And so there's a chicken and egg thing happening, and at some point it needs to be figured out by the parties involved.
Right, right, so we can just sit back maybe.
And so that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I don't want to say like, hey, definitely this. I support everything they're trying to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. But you don't wanna do
But I
one
don't-
over the other.
Right. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
I would suggest that, we request from Dom and Michael over at Olivewood Energy, whether they have gotten a appropriate agreement and understanding in place that would allow for us to support the transmission project yet, or if that is still being worked out, in which case then I think we should wait.
Yeah, wait, wait.
You can always leverage if you want that to happen.
What was that?
If you want it to happen.
We're trying not to, well, at least I'm trying not to get anybody on either side aggravated at anybody,
Okay.
because I'd rather they work together and do it smartly.
Is Olivewood Energy, did you say that they're working on agreement for the interconnection? Is that,
Yeah.
is that what I'm asking them?
Yes.
The
Okay.
interconnection to the wires.
Okay.
And that's been in their last quarterly thing, the
Yes.
last few
No,
times.
I just wanted to be sure I understood that correctly.
And so I know they've been working on it, I know they've been waiting for stuff and trying to
Sure.
talk about things, so, yeah.
All right.
And then maybe they've made headway and it's good, and at the next meeting we can sign
Yeah.
something like this, maybe not, so.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean.
I would assume that if they had made headway, we would have heard from them, but it's worth asking.
It seemed like the Twin Energy, I think that their deadline was July, early July for,
Yeah, I think they said end of July.
oh, did they say the end
For
of July?
like full submission of their whole packet
Oh,
thing
oh,
to,
all right, okay.
like, the feds.
Okay, I was a little
And I'm sure
underwhelmed
that
with the
takes
tax
time, but
benefit,
at the same
yeah.
time, yeah.
The next item we have is the planning board telling you of an approval for a subdivision, Benjamin Smith, Michaela Reel. We also received the driveway permit for the public safety building.
Wow.
Russ worked very hard on that, and as did Emmett. Letter from the city of Concord regarding a personal wireless service facility. If you'd like to go to a meeting this Wednesday night to talk about it, you could. We received today a notice from the town of Boscawen talking about that they are working on a request for a conditional use and major site plan to construct a 120-foot wireless communications facility in Boscawen. So that meeting is next Wednesday, the 5th. You received a thank you note from Franklin VNA and Hospice for your generous contribution. And if I could get to the next page, I could do it.
It's a secret, Dana, you can't know.
Maybe that's one page. And then we received a notice from Merrimack County. They're having a 200th bicentennial celebration on September 30th. And you can join in some great fun, food, and community engagement.
Oh, so that's where we're getting our lunch on the 30th?
I think it's a Saturday.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, Saturday, yes.
And finally, well, you didn't have this in your packet, but you recall that the property we sold on Cornhill Road,
Yeah.
gentleman came in and wanted his property back, and I called the lawyer, and he says, I will handle it,
And he did.
So, that's,
So how did he handle it?
well, actually, the town, the man was entitled to some money back that we had deposited with the court.
Oh,
Excess
okay.
money, and,
But he didn't want the land back.
well, he couldn't get it because
Okay.
we'd done everything
Well, yeah,
correctly.
well, I'm not a lawyer,
Did
so
you do
who
the right
knows?
way?
But no, he couldn't.
But he got what, instead of the money sitting
I
at,
think actually that's maybe what he wanted.
yeah, instead of the money sitting in the court's hands.
Yeah.
He
Right.
came forward and.
Yeah, I'm glad he did. I'm
Yeah,
glad-
cause in that way, it's not just sitting
Yeah,
there.
right,
Yeah,
right,
so
I'm glad he
okay.
did.
now that we all understand that.
Yeah.
That's right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cause as we all want us to make millions selling town property that we don't own, and it doesn't come to us anyways.
So
Well, you
fun,
make more money selling
fun,
property you don't
fun
own.
random fact, that has actually been a thing in New York for quite a while, where
What?
towns would do that. They would take stuff by tax deed and then sell it for exorbitant amounts later and keep the whole thing.
Really?
Um,
Well, that's interesting.
And there have now been court cases and also showing up in federal stuff in new bills in Congress, that you're not gonna be able to do that. They're basically copying what we're doing already in New Hampshire.
Oh, well, that's good, I'm glad we're heading there.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense, I just don't think a lot of people understand that, cause they might look at you and say, well, why didn't you bid that up? Well, cause, no, we just wanna get it back on the tax map, get the people the money they can get.
It's great we have it on the tax rolls and all of that. I'm amazed at what it's cost, not that we've paid it, but at what it's cost for legal fees.
To do what you gotta do.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, cause when we had to do that title search, that was another, after we thought the town of Bosquen had, that was another 15 grand to get clear title, that we thought we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's right, it's a lot of it, a lot to it.
Yeah. That's the end of correspondence, Dave.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, next on the agenda then would be public comment. We already took it and they're all gone. So that brings us to draft meeting minutes. I didn't have a chance to fully read through this, but based on our correspondence that we received with the clarification of the 250,000 being an estimate over 40 years as opposed to annually.
Yes,
Well, that's how they
And
make
our
it sound.
meeting minutes saying that it was in 250,000 in tax revenue annually. My question is, obviously that is what they said. Are we allowed to put a note in there or something of that nature that we have received correspondence since correcting that?
I would put a footnote, I think. And just put a footnote saying, further correspondence received, whatever date it is. It was clarified to be $250,000 over a period of 40 years, was it? Yeah.
yeah. Long
Agreed,
time.
because you don't
Yeah.
want people to read that and then say, well, why weren't we,
Right.
jump right on
Yeah,
there? or
right.
We were hanging on the end of the tailgate of the Chevy
Or we
pickup.
added it to the minutes this
Which would
time.
make
We
it
discussed it in
$68.70 a year.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it is gonna be in this one, but I don't want people to see that and then like,
Yeah.
what happened and so on.
Yeah, see,
If we have an option that we can do it.
I think we could add a footnote if that's.
yeah, I think so too.
So if there is an appropriate manner, then I would request that we do that.
So if, when you make your motion, if you can just, note that we're adding a footnote.
Okay.
So we're moving it as amended.
I make a motion that we're gonna add a footnote with what,
Okay.
To the June 5th.
I will note that my last name is spelled incorrectly.
Oh my God.
well, aren't you something?
I'm on
How'd you
a
find
roll.
that?
I just scrolled.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you know, Russ did say to me the other day, he said, what's Dave's name?
I
Page 3,
Hemingier.
line 4, you spelled it like the author.
don't know. Well, you know,
We know that's really, you know, where it probably.
We know that's you in disguise, come
Right.
on.
So I make a
Dang, I'm
motion
old.
to fix David's last name.
Cover it well, Dave.
just do a motion as
I'm
a
just-
kidding, I'm kidding.
do it.
And, adding a footnote to state, oh no, now I just forgot what we were talking about.
I got it.
Adding a footnote to clarify
clarify.
the amount
Of
of.
money, annually,
In lieu, payment in lieu of taxes
yes.
received.
Okay.
Who's seconding?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And that brings us to the normal fund. Motions for payments and signing of documents.
Okay, the first, I have, it's the Visa bill time again,
I'll be-
that I would like you to approve. My bill has the telephone bills, a few purchases.
So few
I'm having
Couple trips to
quite a
Las
time with
Vegas.
Unitil, I might say, on our
Really?
electricity.
You mean it's goofing up, like I
I
noticed,
received a bill that said we had an $11,000 credit. Then I received a bill saying that we owed him $400-something. Then today, well, it came in on Saturday, we received a check for $5,700. So I tried to call Unitil today, which was a mistake because they weren't open.
oh, that's
So-
right, it's a holiday.
So I'll call them
Totally forgot that.
tomorrow, and, which is probably good, because we're not open, I can be on the phone the entire day waiting for something.
Yep,
Yeah,
I've seen him do this
And-
before.
And they're not, I can't put the pieces together, they haven't given me the information to put the pieces together, and it drives me nuts. But
Well, we were happy with the credit for how short.
I was
amount of
very
time it
happy, I was
lasts.
so, you know,
Yeah.
life was so nice, and then this happened. I don't know whether it's worth
and
going on.
then reality
It's kinda
strikes.
scary, actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they won't
I
show where each thing is coming from. So it's really hard to try to piece together what they may have done and how much you're not getting what you should.
Right.
I think they're gonna say to me, well, you know, we're just paying you for the energy that was generated last year, and maybe on the go forward, it will be net meter. However, in the check that they sent, there's no explanation of what they're paying us for.
I can't believe that there's not more rules to that.
You know.
And that's,
There should be,
there are
right.
lots of rules to that.
Well, how come they're not?
See?
And that's why both the
If it was
PUC
Marlowe,
and the
should we tell
DOE were going, what the heck is going on? This
Yeah.
shouldn't work this way.
Yeah, it is scary.
So then I have, a bunch of, And I'll send this all as a package for the trustees of trust funds.
Okay.
We do have a trustee.
And just because we're dealing with money, before I forget, again, we have, sitting back there, my audio receiver and amplifier system. And as far as I'm aware, everything is still working for it, for being able to do all of the audio, doing the
Yeah.
projection, et cetera. And my thinking is, I had given you options that I had thought it would cost the board if I went out and found something at like
Yeah.
Best Buy or Guitar Center. My thinking is, since it's a spare thing of mine that's working and it's here, that I would like to make it easy for the town. And say if the town wants to like pay $50 for it or something, I'm
about
good with
rent
it, and I'll say it's good to, like, I will, if it stops working by the next meeting, then I'll give the money back to the town and,
That's a bargain, Dave.
but,
I go for that.
so I'm completely fine with also, hey, that's not really a warranty for like a year or something that you get on something new, so go do it.
But you know what, we got the man to take care of it, so I think that's a great idea. I make a motion and we accept that idea and give you the $50.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was
You know, I
good.
think if you're spending $50, the person should guarantee it for at least 30 years.
Well, trust me, when it doesn't work, it's not gonna be me and Dee back there.
That's right, that's right. We're running the other way.
That's right.
I managed to get it to work all by myself for moving it. That was
Wow.
nice. I hit the button and turned the dial and it magically worked. I was like, yay.
Oh, God.
Did Marty say how it worked? How-
Well, I mean, we tested it and he said it sounded fine. He didn't like it when it was coming through the projector. And then I'm like, let me try this. I turned the dial and it came out the back and then all good.
That was okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I was at the movie.
So I'll.
It's a weird movie, though, I
Now
gotta
that
say.
you've decided on that, I'll try to find some time to come down and I'll write out documentation for like a page that can be stuck up on the shelf, so.
I've
anyone
got a
can do it.
sample of that in the kitchen that makes it real easy.
Oh, perfect.
We'll have to,
How to turn the oven on.
how to turn the
Oh,
oven
okay.
on. Did I ever?
Anyway, so now
both
we
sides of
won't
that
have to worry
stove
about that,
work
and I
now?
don't have to go
Yeah,
down and
everything
find
works
something
now.
at Best
They
Buy
don't
or
work. They
Guitar
couldn't
Center.
figure out how to
Cost
turn the
way
oven
more
on.
than $50.
All right.
I wrote
So-
really
oh,
easy instructions.
It's 2
You
pages.
have to push the button.
Fun. Now, is this our second quarterly or half-year one?
This is our second quarter. As it turns out, it's coincidentally the end of the quarter, which is nice because I've got some hefty bills in there that would like to be paid back for.
Okay. All right, I would move to request, are you ready to look through?
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
I would move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $215,953.96 payable to the town of Webster to reimburse the town for expenses to be withdrawn from the capital reserve funds and expendable trust funds as listed below. To withdraw $175,058.96 from the Bridge Improvement Capital Reserve Fund for invoice from CWS Fence Company 230043.01 for the amount of $14,145. Invoice from Neil H. Daniels, Inc., 61135 for the amount of $150,307.50. Invoice from the Treasurer of the State of New Hampshire for the check for request for wetlands permit of $2,292.40. An invoice from VHB 04077713 in the amount of $8,314.06.
Second.
Uh,
Do we, or we
We're
don't
not
say,
done
are you
yet.
gonna go through all that?
Stand by.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all
Sorry.
of them. Also, to withdraw $32,075 from the Road Preservation Expendable Trust Fund for invoices from Fleece and Flower Farm, 7134, 7137, 7138, 7139, 7140, 7141, 7142, 7143, 7144, 7149, 7150, 7152, 7153, 7154. And then also to withdraw $8,820 from the Highways and Roads Capital Reserve Fund for invoices from Fleece and Flower Farm, numbers 7156, 7158, 7162, and 7163.
Now I'll second it. I'll make, you know,
Still
your
not
motion, I'll
done, Dave,
second.
we have like 300 more.
So, well,
I think-
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, do we have any other motions?
I have signatures that I need.
Signatures, all right.
While you're finishing up with this is from Mary Welch, the clerk, and it's a dog warrant.
Yes.
dog warrant.
Dog.
Oh, those are
A
under
dog
arrest.
or a lot
Several
of
dogs, she's got a list in back there if you'd like
Okay.
to.
Yeah, you really should have licensed your dogs, because we already knew about them. List.
I do not have any dogs, cat, I have 4 birds, that's it.
Oh, they need to be licensed.
Yeah, right. Oh,
That's a
Christopher.
list of the people that.
Yeah.
No.
It
Unlicensed?
always amazes me how long that list is.
I know, I was gonna say, when you have this many dogs in the town of Webster, holy crow.
Well, that's only the ones that aren't licensed and registered.
That's a lot of dogs. I
We
never
have
see
more
any.
dogs than people.
I never, you know, driving around, you rarely ever see a dog, ever now. Used to be a pain. Once in a while, I see somebody walking a dog on a leash, so.
Oh, thank God, I'm not on here. I have to say, because you know, with the whole April coming and her not really being open and all that, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my, and then they sent nice little cards. We got a card in the mail
Oh, you did?
reminding you, yeah, yes,
She has really
tried hard.
tried hard, and I
Yes.
think she's done a great.
But I did think to myself, really, Marla, you don't wanna make that list.
Yep.
Because if you don't answer it after that, you go to court, it's not fun. Or is this it?
Over $7
Yes,
licensing fee.
Then I have 2 land use change tax for the board to sign. It's on the reverse side of the front sheet, and it's in the middle. I should have printed your names there, but I will do that later.
Okay, all right.
He's learning. I shouldn't print my own name.
All right. So, you're on the top.
Is it each page that needs a signature?
No, just that.
No, I think
Just
it's
the
just
back.
that, it's just
Just
that
that front
piece.
one.
Just that,
It's all
and the
one
rest goes to the
application.
tax collector.
What's, okay, yeah, cause this is all.
Oh, yeah, you've
yeah.
got the second application.
Right, I have the
Okay.
second one, that's just
Okay,
And then the
So it's right
explanations
Yeah,
in
here
the
right
I'm
back.
there.
looking for.
signature, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna print the name.
We only have one outstanding, we're doing good.
Mr. Organizer.
Okay, that's for that.
And we
It's
have
easy when I don't
This
have
is
other
for
papers
this,
in.
okay,
Yeah.
same idea.
same idea.
Okey dokey.
And we'll leave Dana in charge of printing.
Yeah, no such
Okay,
thing.
all right.
My handwriting's
Cause
awful,
you
and
can't
you know
print.
it.
That's right,
I'm
you
not
know.
that good, but
Well, we can
I
always get
did
Wendy.
take penmanship.
5 acres.
I had to go to penmanship
Coming
class because my
out.
writing was so bad.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
they kept making me do penmanship and
Wonder what they're
then
gonna do with
computers.
this land.
Well,
It's because I was
About 10 years
left-handed.
on
and they didn't like me.
67 and a half acres.
Well, I heard about the nuns and your left-handedness.
Yeah.
Huh, that's a good big one.
let's see. So total acres.
Oh,
Oh, it's a partial, this is a partial release though, it's not the whole acreage.
one of them's a partial and one's a full.
Currently enrolled,
And that's the
Previous
magical lot that keeps
release.
growing.
What was that?
That's the magical lot that keeps growing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a fun one. I had
We
this.
have magical lots in Webster?
okay, yeah, so this one is only increasing, it's removing 1 acre out of that
Oh,
amount.
okay.
It's not what you were thinking of,
So
what's
now,
going
how
on
can
with
they do that?
67.
All right, but if they're gonna build on it or something, don't we have a 5 acre zone?
Right, but you,
That
the
would only
law,
matter
the
if they're
state law
subdividing.
is that you don't have to remove the entire 5 acres. So you can
Oh, really?
remove
You only
what,
remove what you need.
what you need.
So in
As
other
long as
words,
your overall plot is
Is,
large enough.
as long as you have 10 acres remaining in current use, small caveat, if there's wetlands, you can do wetlands for a smaller amount.
that's interesting.
So congratulations, Conservation Commission, you now have more money coming to you.
Yeah,
And we should
really.
have one more of those coming.
Because we don't, the town does not keep land use change taxes, that was voted on the warrant a few years ago, to go fully towards the Conservation
Conservation,
Commission's
that's
fund.
how
Part of the
Boston does
town.
the same thing, they do all their, conservation gets it all.
When do they do like the use change, you know, like when they build something new, you've gotta pay that $5,000?
Oh, the,
Yeah,
impact fees.
Impact fee.
Impact fee is right as they get the certificate of occupancy.
Oh.
So once that's approved, the impact fee is due.
And then you get this market value from,
Our assessors.
your assessors, okay.
Yep, they do it.
Well, I'll tell you, what if there was a less than an acre lot in Boston that sold for $90,000?
I believe it.
In Boston.
Yep.
Yeah, I
and then-
know.
So
Amazing.
that means everybody
With
that.
good frontage.
Nope,
Well, with a good location,
Mm.
that has frontage.
yeah, whatever. It's a postage stamp.
But yes.
90 grand. So because somebody paid that, then if you are taking your land out, that's what they're using as the
Well, we
rate.
had
Oh.
a cabin sell in town for, that was assessed for 100,000, sold for 350 recently, so.
Yeah,
It sold for 350.
well, like in anything that ever, yeah.
Well, things are going crazy.
And it
yeah.
was off the market the day it was put on.
Oh, I'm telling you, when you see, that's it, I see going up signs and they're gone in a day, or it's on, you know, it's under contract.
That's
I
why
was-
when they do the revale, your place would be $1 million.
Oh, thanks a lot. Well, I'm not selling anything, so. I don't want neighbors, neighbors are trouble.
Hey, I wish my great-grandparents had the same mentality.
Yes, yes, I am. I mean,
You're a good neighbor, you're far enough away.
Yeah.
all right, is there anything else for us to sign?
No.
All right. Does the board have anything else that
I'm just
should
gonna
be
walk
brought up?
across.
There is no, I just wanna, I forgot to say that, there is no July grapevine coming out, I'm taking the month off of all 3 of my papers, so.
And is there anything we have to go into non-public for?
There is not.
Hey,
Perfect. I move that we adjourn the meeting at 8:12.
second.
All in favor?